Okay, are we live? Because I think we're live. Hang on.
Yes.
Yes?
Yes.
Us. I would trust you to get out of all this. Okay, so we had a little problem with my audio. We couldn't get on properly. Let me just bring up what I need here. I won't be 1 second. Welcome, everybody. Okay. All right. Okay. So welcome, everybody. So glad that you're all here today. Today I have something that's very, very dear to me, the energy that is so dear to my heart and everything that I stand for, everything that I have been. And I actually, most of my life actually owned this energy, was that energy. I represented that in the world. And then at some stage I had to hand this over, and it was so beautiful to hand it over to someone that I am going to introduce you to today. So, okay. I apologize because my audio keeps telling me something. I just want to fix this. So, you can still hear me, can't you, Jessica?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Okay. All right. Sorry, it's just got rid of my whole screen. Okay, so this is the God Interviews, and today we have Jessica. Can you say your surname, please, so I get it right? I should have checked before. It's Hutwelker.
Yeah, I changed it to Saint Michelle, so Jessica Saint Michelle.
I was going to introduce you. I put under your thing Saint Michelle, and then I thought, no, we'll change it back because I wasn't sure. So that's beautiful. Yeah. That sounds so beautiful for you. Okay, so today I'm honored to reveal the gods. They are here as a remembrance of who you be. It's time. The gods are the new earth divine leaders that are here to provide direction, guidance, and healing to you and our world. Right now, everything is crumbling. It's being dismantled as we speak, and many don't know who to turn to, who to trust. The gods are divinely chosen to lead, and they each bring a remembrance of who you be. I share the gods with you. They are here for you. They are a stand for love, truth, and freedom for all. We all rise together. Each one of us has a divine energy, including you. It's who you are. It's the filter that you see your world through. Aligning to your energy is where you thrive. We came to activate this planet. Each God will activate and awaken their divine energy within you. Each video is a transmission and an awakening to the divine powers that live dormant within you. You will be coded to thrive, love, create, and expand to more. These beings have tapped into their divine power, and one by one, we will activate the world. I share the gods with you for you to remember who you be. I share the gods with you to remind you of the greatness that lives within you, that we are more, that each one of us brings a piece of heaven to earth. When we are on purpose, we are the medicine of our world. This is the piece that many are missing, your knowing of who you truly be. For the past 10 years, I've been activating the gods of this world, divinely activating their God frequency and watching them release their magic into the universe. Now is the time for you to meet them. And today, I am so excited to introduce the God of love, the God of love. So Jessica Saint Michelle?
Yes.
So pleased to have you here, and such a beautiful, beautiful energy to be activated on our planet today. Such a beautiful being that you are. Thank you for being here.
I'm so absolutely delighted and honored and joyful to represent It's so funny, my pendulum that I've used for years, it just separated itself. So I'm taking that as a sign that I don't need the pendulum to be able to channel anymore, that I can trust in my intuition and in the messages that come through. So celebration, you guys, I'm breaking free of needing tools to tap into my gift, which I hope I can bring to all of you. That's something that's important to me. Yeah.
And I don't know if it's for everyone. I am on that vibration that Jessica brings. And so when she speaks, I feel that vibration. Like already she started speaking, I'm already like, oh my gosh, like I feel she's on that love vibration, right? So when we speak of love, it is a full-blown power of what we be. So can you tell us about that, Jessica? Like what that means to you, what it means to you, and what it means, because just before we say that, like it's always like really pissed me off actually, because people take love as just like this fancy word that they put on cards or something, you know, like love, you know, but it's a power, it's a force, it's an energy, it's our identity. So it is such a powerful force that is on this planet, that's what God is, right? So it's that force, that energy, that creator energy. So what is it to you, and how does it move through this world?
I love that you made that reference. I love that you made that reference about love, because as I was getting ready, I mean, I've had a really fierce day. Like I've been very fierce. I've made some really bold declarations over the last couple of days of how I want to show up in the world and what I stand for, and claiming my power in greater ways. And that's not docile. That's not a sweet, gentle love, which I am. And I think that there's this sense that love only looks a certain way, like true love is only a certain way. And it would be like, there's just such a spectrum of what love is, and how love is also like a filter through all of the emotions. I remember someone telling me once that anger is an expression of love. And that took me a long time to like, how could that be? But when there's such passion in how we speak, and when it comes through our hearts, it transmits a way of connecting and communicating that people can feel in their heart, that transcends everything else. And as I'm speaking, I can feel like heat coming up to my face, because, this is we cannot move forward in this world with the way it's been done. And what it's going to take is going to be bringing back ancient things that went thousands of years ago, which I've been anchoring back in again, which is goddess energy, which is love, femininity, grace, sensuality, creativity, art, and then also channeling in, bringing in brand new ways and brand new transmissions on how to show up. And I think that that's the key, is bringing back the ancient and bringing in the new that hasn't existed, because us trying to find solutions with what we have on hand is not possible, because they've been created by the energy that's at hand. So there's this thing of like, okay, how do we create something new, while also pulling in the, what was so mystical and powerful in our deepest connection to the divinity that was hundreds of thousands of years ago, and anchoring that back in. So that's kind of what, for me, love right now has been such a continuous act. I had a series I created of 30 days of active love. And a month ago, I was going to really focus in on my studies and hunker in and not like shut myself off from the world. And instead I got the message, no, you're actually going to do a series online, and you're going to do 30 days of active love, and you're going to talk about love and sensuality and magic and sexuality. And I was like, why would I do that in the midst of everything? Who wants to hear that? And then getting further confirmations and downloads. So there's so much for me to share, but I'll say, like, to me, love is everything. It is all aspects. There is no one like fractal way that's so specific, that's so clear, but it's the the filter, and it's full spectrum love. Yeah.
And I love how you said, like, your experience of love is who you're being, right? Because God says it's who she be's. Like, you are it. You are the energy of divine love on this planet. And God created Jessica to actually represent that on our planet and to share that with us. And like you said, it's all spectrums, because it's like a full force. It's just like, we have no idea, like, oh, you do, but we don't have the idea, and I've experienced it too, but the force of love, it just, it just runs through everything. But it also runs through, not just you'll feel it and it pours through you, but it runs through everyone that you see. Everything is love, right? But it's a power, like you were saying, and it comes in, like and you said, I felt all the emotions this week, and I was, like, feeling all these things, because it's, when you love, it's just so expansive and so raw, sometimes so raw and real and in your face. Like, it's just like, it's right there, you're feeling the vibration of it all, right? And it's not this, like you said, docile energy. It's not this, they're just sweet. No, it's just like, here I am, and I love fully, I love completely, I love. And a lot of people have also misunderstood that in me, and my family too, because they were easily loved, and I thought the whole world was like that. And I had to go out in the world and realize, oh my gosh, people don't know how to love, right? They don't know the expression of love. And it's just, when we're loving like that, it's like, you're just like, seeing the face of God in everybody, that my dad used to say. But it's also, you're experiencing, like, giving love. And it's like, it's not even about, you're just giving it, but it's not even about the other person. Like, there's no giver or receiver at that point when you're in your presence of love, because I get so much more than what I'm giving. I'm receiving, you know what I mean? Like, although some people receive my love or my care or whatever, but I'm the one that's receiving. I'm the one that's lit up. I'm the one that's in expansion, and that love pours out of me. And I just want you to also, there's so many areas we're going to take this to, because I know you've done those 30 days and they're just magnificent. Like, everybody go over to Jessica's page and just, you've got the full, you completed them now, didn't you?
I did. I completed it the 21st. Yeah, yesterday.
Yeah, and they're just epic, and one builds on the other and the other and the other, and you just see all these different ideas and everything about love. When you came to me for your life purpose session, though, you were at a place, and I actually didn't know anything about Jessica, and then I delivered this to her. And how did that feel? Because I know there was like a bit of a struggle. It was like, hang on, like, what does this mean? Like, there was a struggle, and now you're so fully in it, like it is you. But there was a struggle to actually believe that. What did that feel like?
Thank you. Yeah, I've been on quite a unique path the last couple of years, and particularly the last year, where I was guided to walk a sacred sexuality path that I had no idea why I was being guided to it. And it led me to Paris, which has been my favorite city, and I've been so drawn to it my whole life. And there was this sense of finding an identity, and there was confusion about it. It's interesting. Sometimes we're asked to go to the darkest places to find love there, or bring love there, or be love there. I used to think about, sure, it's fine for a monk to be in a monastery and up in the hills and the mountains and be secluded away from everyone, and be in a state of ecstasy and meditative state, like, all the time. I'm like, well, what happens when you put them in the everyday world? What happens then? Like, are they able to maintain that? And, like, there's a humanness in that, we do. So for me, I was fulfilling a destiny, a childhood dream of living in Paris, um, and I was really unsure. I was following the guidance, but there was some, I don't want to say distrust, but just I uncertainty, and I would still keep moving. So having the life purpose with you, because I really want to understand my life purpose. I'm like, well, why am I being guided down this path? I really don't understand this. And then you sharing that I'm the God of love, and I was like, no, no,
Yeah,
no,
I remember you were like, no, no.
me, like, love, like, do you have any idea? And what's actually unfolded since that time has actually been me being open to feeling love from others that I couldn't before. And the angels that appeared on my path, because there are always angels no matter where we go, but sometimes it's really they really shine when you're in darker places of the unknown, and so there's been this blossoming. And then honestly, during the what I call the big pause, the last few months, I was in a very protected, magical home with beautiful people that really gave me the space and permission to be all of myself. And so then that opened up all of these compartments and realms. And, I dated a really lovely man who really awakened my femininity and my power and my grace and my expression um, and my artist inside me. And so there's this unveiling and revealing of myself to the world, and wanting so much. I've put so much effort into making sure that I'm as congruent as possible and with as much high integrity, so that when people hear my voice, when they feel my energy, when they get my message, when they watch me move, that they can sense that this is coming from the highest form of love and devotion to the divine and to others that is possible. And that is my steady commitment. So I chose, as an act of love, to leave everything I've known to step into being in this, and it's been a journey, but to being this fully. And so now to be in this space where I consider myself a devotee of the divine, and that is my practice, my eminence, my embodiment, my share. And that's such a gift to be able to do that in a modern day mystic way, rather than being in a cloister. That I can bring the embodiment of the God, a goddess of love, in a modern way that can fit into people's everydayness. So yeah.
That's so beautiful. And I see your devotion. I see and feel and know the devotion, like how devoted you are to the divine, like just, and so wanting to be so congruent, wanting to be so aligned. I know that about you. Like it's just so, like, it's so present within you when you speak everything, right? So when I spoke to Jessica, like the divine said, your purpose, Jessica, is to awaken the beings to full-blown realization of who they be. You came to awaken them to the love that lives within. You are the expression of love. You embody that in all you be and do. But yes, we always experience the opposite. We always have to experience the opposite, right? So that we know how other people feel. Otherwise, if we're just like all in the love or all in the divine or whatever, so we had to experience the opposite. But yes, we experienced the opposite. Yes, we knew it was here and there and everywhere, but what was being shown was anything but that. And at times we've all felt so alone. So I know I've had my times in the past where I felt so alone, so disconnected. And God was saying that, Jessica, yes, you felt that too. But I am here with you. And I'm just saying that because everybody feels that. Everybody feels that. And we have felt that too. And God is there with you, like the divine, the creator, everything. That energy of love is there with you. Like, I am here with you. You are a creator of worlds, creator of love. You came to awaken the ones that know that they are here for more and bring them to love. You bring them to the divine. So that's so beautiful. Your actual purpose is just to awaken them, to bring them to love, to the divine, which is our work is very, very similar. So yeah, and so beautiful.
Thank you for reminding me of those passages. It's special to hear it again in this moment, because in October I didn't know how that would be, and today I do know how, so there's that's joyful for me to receive once again.
And like we were saying, you were in a group and practicing sacred sexuality, was it sacred sex? Is that what you called it? Yeah. And I remember, and you're like, but I can't, you don't know what's happening here. And it's like, and I'm like, you're in the perfect place. You're in the perfect place. Do you think they're not needing love? Do you think like God's put you in the perfect place for you to share your love, for you to be that around everything, like the beauty, everything that was going on, but within those people are also feeling an emptiness and aloneness, and searching for something, and you were there and you get to help them and move them and just bring love to them, right? So it is such a beautiful energy. So what happens, like, what was the difference between like you knowing that, like before you knew it, your life before you knew it, and your life after? Like, I know you've already mentioned a bit, but you're like, how did that make such a difference? Why did you keep going with it? Oh, first of all, let me just share something. I knew nothing of Jessica, and then she didn't tell me on the live or anything when we had the life purpose session. And then afterwards she said, actually, I do speak to Jesus and Mary Magdalene. Mary Magdalene comes through to me, and I'm here in Paris, and I'm looking for Mary Magdalene's cave, or what was it like? And I was just like, are you serious? So she's like, no, I'm just doing this sacred sexuality. That's all she had told me. But really, she was also on a journey to get closer to Mary Magdalene. And I'm just like, girl, come on. You are love. Yeah, that was her. Like, who does that? So beautiful.
Thank you. Yeah, it was like the last, like my parting, like moment with you. I was like, oh, and by the way, and you're like, what? Like, could we have started the whole session with that piece? And Mary Magdalene is like made herself very present here. So I'm on Maui right now, and it's interesting because I had traveled to Paris and thinking I'd find her there, but she actually, I called her in. The place I'm staying in Maui, I have such a beautiful, simple room, and then I was able to dress it up and turn it into my sanctuary, my temple, my altars, and my altar right here behind me, and then like being on the land, and I'm led. So it's these little pieces. One of my moments that I shared on the Days of Active Love was I had this piece of bamboo, and I was going to do a workout on the lawn, and I set it down, but it was a very specific place, and I had to line up with a palm tree just a certain way, and like it was very intentional, and like so I move very intentionally. When I get the intuition or get the message, I go and do the thing. And as I was doing that, I noticed this little gray blob on the ground, and I was like, well, what is that? And I moved over to it, and it was this little tiny baby bird that like hadn't opened, like hadn't really breathed. Like it should have been in its shell still. It was like so new. And I just started to cry, like the loss of a beloved, this little baby bird. And within moments, like I found a coconut husk and some flowers and a piece of leaf, and like, and I created this little cocoon, this little, thing to hold this baby bird and have a ceremony, like, and take it around, and the birds are flying over it. I'm, showing it like the sunshine, and I'm crying that it never got to fly, and I'm honoring its life. And And that level of sacredness for life and respect for death, and the also the ushering and the guiding, sending them over, and also saying, like, I resurrect you, you will come back. And then, finding a new home, a new resting place for the bird in this giant ficus tree. And so it's these moments that are so available to us, these moments of really connecting to God and really feeling love. And it's hard. I mean, it is true. It is challenging. It is everything to not be distracted. And I know that sometimes I've gotten so overwhelmed by the pain that people are in that I literally cannot hold that, and so to have the grace in ourselves that every even little moment, every little choice, when we can hold the piece of us that's human and in our humanity, and know that isness is there, and then also know that we carry the higher octave of our source creator, of our connection to the divine, and we can choose those higher choices. We don't have to become God first and then we do the higher choice, and we don't have to shame ourselves for the things that we're still moving through, and I think that's one of the biggest pieces I feel about where light workers have I want to be very careful with what it says. I think that there's a lot of light workers who choose to not see what's actually going on in the world, and they're like, I'm just going to focus on over here. And I was taught that, and I did that, and that is a disservice to humanity. And I also think that for us to go immediately from some deep hurt and pain and jump immediately to light and love and forgiveness, that is an abandonment of ourselves, and that is not love. That is an abandonment of who we are. So to be with where we are at and love ourselves, there is where the healing is. And I have that on another video that I have about some traumatic abuse I endured for 5 years with an orthodontist, and it was diabolical, neglect, absolutely horrible treatment that people today, you would not be in practice, and there was a moment for me when it's all coming back up, because it's ready to be released. It's coming up, and I completely blocked it out. And there was this moment where I could choose light and love. And I was like, here's this little girl who endured 5 years of tremendous pain, and she was wishing that something bad would happen to him because of the treatment she got. And I was like, you know what? She's young. It's okay that she wants to feel that way. And I'm going to stay, and I'm going to be with her, and I'm going to love her there. And I'm not going to bypass and abandon her. I'm going to be with her. And if it takes a month or a week or a year, I'm okay with that. I'm going to love her where she's at. And that was one of the greatest things I think is setting me free, so that I can teach others. Setting you free is being present to and loving where you're at, rather than trying to jump up ahead to this other level that you can't be there because this other part hasn't been held. Even if you try to jump, you're going to slide back down. You're like, I don't understand. What? I want to be here, but I keep coming here. Well, because you haven't held it here. And here's what you can love right now.
And I think that's what you do beautifully with clients, with groups, with people, everyone, that you hold us in love. You see us, you be love, and then you hold us in love, and also teach us how to be that love in each moment. Because I totally agree. It's about loving what is. It's not accepting things, if people get it wrong. It's not we just get to accept the certain things, like your pain from an orthodontist or whatever. You don't get to, it's not or abuse or anything. There's no, oh, that's okay. There's not an acceptance like that, but it's loving what is, what's happened, what actually that little girl that needed to be loved at that moment, seeing it for what it is and helping them to be in that, and then to move forward from there. Because in each moment, it's we are the answer to everything. We are the answer. Our sacredness is the answer to everything. Like the answer to everything is our sacredness in each moment when we remember who we be. And in that moment, then we get to create the next moment and the next moment and the next moment. But that's something that you do beautifully. You see us. If there's pain, if there's loneliness, if whatever, you help us to see that. And then it's like you tenderly hold us and then move us to, the next place. You allow us, you free us to keep moving in love, to keep expanding in who we be. Because a lot of people shut down and all the walls go up. And then they're like, well, why don't I have love? Why isn't that working for me? But we've got all this protection around us. And it's not just love about relationships or anything like that, but it's like you're blocking yourself from just love from everyone and everything that wants to come in, because love is always present, as we're the ones that block ourselves from it. So just share with us some more. I just want to hear some more stories. I know they can go watch the videos, but even just another story from your 30 days, because I've seen some of them and they're just so beautiful. I love them so much. Yeah.
Thank you. There's, one of the things I'm very present to is where all of our attention's being drawn, with the media and everything, which has me question, all right, what are they keeping from us? Because they're directing, it's like, everything is magic, you guys. So if you go to a show and you see a magician and he's doing this thing, and so you're focusing on this thing, and meanwhile he's got his hand back here doing the actual trick. So there's this sense of that's what's happening in this world. And I know that there's certain things that are very, very real. Child trafficking is very real. And, there are very evil, horrible people doing terrible things. And so there was this sense of all of the news, all the information is coming to light finally. And then it's like, and what do we do with that? And we're absorbing that and we're taking it in. And then how do we show up with all of there's so much chaos, right? And I reached a point where I was like, I need to actually pull away and shut myself from it, not because I'm turning a blind eye, but because I need to sprint and be a visionary and run 100 yards ahead to think about, okay, all this is coming to light, and then what? Who's there to help the kids? Who's there? What are the services? If the mantles that we've built actually were part of the perpetration of the very thing that, has hurt them, are we going to put them back into that system again? Or are we going to create something new? How are we going to show up with that? And part of the thing about Mary Magdalene, so here's the thing. I'm just going to be super honest. All right. So Lady Liberty, I love, she, Statue of Liberty, such an iconic figure. She was created in Paris, in Montmartre, by Monsieur Eiffel, the same man who created the Eiffel Tower. Paris was built over a Celtic tribal civilization called the Parisians, who worshipped the ancient goddess Isis. So the name Paris comes from the Parisians, which comes from Isis. Mary Magdalene was a priestess of Isis, of that lineage. And the thing about the Magdalenes, the priestesses, they held a very high, important role in the temples. This is where people came, when the warriors were coming back from war, they would come to the temple to receive healings, to be cleared of the trauma that they had, that they experienced, to be able to return home whole again, complete and in love to their families. There were ceremonies that celebrated the fertility and abundance that the goddess of the earth had brought. And, so these sacred feminine arts, healing arts, magic arts, vision, prophecy, dance, sexuality, all of these pieces that were so important to society, they've been completely stripped away from. everything has become profane. And not everything, but there's been a lot of profanity and twist and distortion on actually what the purity and the beauty was of embodying the divine in such a holy space and way. And so that is something that really lights me up so much, is bringing that back again, bringing back the goddess, bringing back the divine feminine in her arts and in her sensuality, and in a way that every woman can embody that. And I know the divine feminine exists in all, just like divine masculine exists in all. And I think that there are many, many women who felt they need to put on armor and become masculine to live in this world, and they did. And I'm here to stand for them, having been in that place and thinking I was an empowered woman, but it was through a patriarchal lens, and it was through the masculine way, shifting it completely to the other side of being in my feminine, of bringing in that grace and that beauty. And, Mary Magdalene was the most misunderstood woman of history. And she was portrayed as something that she was not. And maybe she wasn't meant to be seen until now, truly for who she is, truly for what she stood for, truly what she was capable of, and how much love and healing she did through sacred union with Yeshua. That everyone's been trying to tear them apart, that they weren't married and that Jesus was celibate, but the truth of it was that they were in sacred union together, and it was through their love and their energetic that they learned that she was able to infuse him with the abilities to do the healings that he did. And so that's something that I desire to bring about again as well, is remembering, having the women get activated again in their goddess, their god of love in them, because it's when we do that the men will rise to meet us.
And
I think
that's also what I learned too over the last year or so. And I also received messages from Jesus and Mary Magdalene, and it was really like they were actually, like, she was actually already like the downloads that came was like people were asking her, why are you with him, why are you hanging out with him, like as if she was like higher, like more educated, things like that, which we're never told. Like she was helping him and saw his greatness and things like that, and together they did many things, but she was already very well educated, and she was already that priestess that you were speaking of. And I love that you described a priestess like that, because I remember in your life purpose that God did say about you came to serve humanity in a way that only you know how, Jessica. You came to be a priestess of love. So I love the way you described all those magical and things about being a priestess, because that's exactly who you be. You probably wouldn't have just said it all about yourself, but you did say it, and that's how God described you. You came to be a priestess of love, bringing light to everything you be and do. You bring the light to the dark. You express your truths with ease. There has never been a time that you did not know this. It's always been within you. Inject this onto the planet. It is you. You are needed by many, so many right now. Do not think small. Many will come. You will captivate them all. And you are like that when you're in that full energy, which is what they'll see in those 30 days and what they're seeing today. It is just this energy, this activation, and this vibration that pours through you that I recognize as full-blown love. It is just so magical, so beautiful. But I love how you described the priestess of who she be, because that's how God described you. Like that's, and you've got, I love it.
It's mind blowing to me to hear it again. And that it said that he said priestess of love, or that's the transmission. That's very humbling and awing at the same time, because, again, it took going down paths that I'm like, why am I being guided? Why am I being led this way? And there wasn't like someone to lead me the whole time. You know, no one was holding my hand, but like the angels would appear and they would show up, and then I could make choices. And I mean, it's so, I can't wait to share someday about my time in Paris and the magic, like it just blew my mind. And the magic just kept coming and coming and coming, and being here on Maui as well. And, you know, I stand for the women that have been so shamed for their desires, for pleasure, for their femininity, for their like vibrance, their radiance. And you know, they've been told that it's bad, it's wrong, it's da 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 da, and or like, but if you do it behind closed doors in this like grungy bar, then you know, it's just, it's like, it's gross, like this gross. And so for me, like on Friday, I'm debuting as the sexy mystic for the first time, and I'm hosting a sparkle soiree, igniting the goddess within for women. And it's you know, it's an very intimate, very private, very sensual show just for women, where they can see me embody these different qualities of the divine feminine arts and the sensuality of them, and then give them permission to play. Yes. And that it's not to get the attention or impress somebody else, or you know, but to feel it in their bodies, and call it back in, and awake it, because like you said, like it was already in me, but it's not until I'm doing the action that it unlocks. So it's like, once I get in the mode, then it's like, I don't even want to say muscle memory. It's just, it's like suddenly it's this gnosis. It just happens. And then I'm like, oh, I'm doing this thing that I had no idea. Okay, here we go. You know, but it's the permission to play. You know, I think that's the thing that I want to, if anything that can bring so much to people, that I think that the fastest access point to love is through the state of play. And as
women, I feel like, like you said, and women have just shut all that down, and it's like, it's okay, it's like, that's who we are, that's who we be. And the more vibrant we are, the more lovable, the more we see ourselves. And I think that's something that, you know, comes with age too, because I'm just like over 50, so I'm just owning it. I don't give a fuck what anyone thinks. And it's just like, and I'm enjoying me and my body and everything more than ever before, right? So it's, which is, you know, I've always enjoyed it, but it's like this freedom that it's just like, I can just be in that divine love energy and just express who I be as a woman, and everything is okay. It's all parts of me. We're not these divine, they like us to be, okay, you're divine or spiritual or anything, and act like a nun now, like, shh, you know, and it's not about that. It's, we express even more. We know our truth. We stand up and each of us has that beautiful, you know, impression of who we be inside of us that gets to be released when we fully are in that feminine energy, which to me is so easy to tap into now, because it's just like, this is who I be, you know, like, and just show up like that, and here I am, you know, like, and be all of me. But you know, when I was younger or that, we'd think, oh, what about this or this or that, you know, like, and we were perfect anyway, like it was just perfect. And still we judged ourselves because of what society has looked upon women and what they've told us. And like you said, we have to hide to enjoy things and desires and all that stuff. And it's like, fuck that. No, we get to rise now. We get to be those priestesses. We get to, you know, and pour that love, and like that, the men will rise too. Like the men rise with us, you know. It's just like this beautiful dance between the male and the feminine and the men. Like it's just like, and the masculine, like it's just this beautiful, beautiful dance of love. It is that, and it's all parts of love. Like you were saying, it's just, love isn't just one little thing. It's just like so in every area of our life. That's how we show up to be. So you also like in your 30 days, you also share some of your channeling too, because you also tap into all these other magical different beings, which are so epic, and the messages that come through are just amazing. Like I just kept listening to the messages because it was so mind-blowing. Tell us about that.
About me channeling?
Yes, about like when it opened up, or when these beings decided to come to you, or because they did Magdalene and Jesus.
I'm blessed. I mean, we're all channels. If you can breathe, you can channel. We all have a channel. Just some people choose to, tune in and listen to it. And to me, it's like scanning a radio, and you're twisting and turning, and there's crackle, and then you hear a station, and you pick a channel. And then for me, it's like I link into that channel and I start speaking the message. And so I've channeled everything from the city of Paris, which has an awesome energy, to Isis, to Yeshua, to planets, to inanimate objects, to the seasons, like everything has an energetic and a consciousness to it. You could channel literally anything. And there's this opportunity that, again, we can go within ourselves. And for some people, the greatest thing they can possibly do is connect to their own channel. That can be the greatest act that they do for themselves, is to connect to their own channel. They get their own downloads. They can trust it. They can trust that it comes through source, through their own channel to them, and they can move through that. And that's something that I love to teach people as well, is how to tap into their body, to their own consciousness, and to get into that rather than seeking outside and needing input. I'm teaching them how they can go into themselves and connect to themselves to get to their own truth and to be able to stand in it. So there's a difference too, right, about being able to stand in that truth and not get swayed by what everyone else is telling you around you. Because I've learned that crazy is something that's beyond someone's realm of understanding. And if I cannot tell you how much of my life I spent trying to fit myself into something that people would understand and that would feel comfortable for them. And I was dying inside by trying to fit in some kind of model that people could be like, oh yes, I accept this. This makes sense. I understand this. I've seen this before. Like, that was such a disservice to God. It was such a disservice to my soul. It was such a disservice to my joy. And so there's
most of society right now, and that's how we've ended up where we are right now. Like, sorry, continue. It's just like that's where we're stuck right now, because, and that's how, exactly how you're explaining, that's how it feels when you're trying to fit into some other model, when really we get to tap into that divine every day. That's what I tell everybody first. The first thing you do is tap into the divine. You're either in the matrix or the divine. So that's your first thing, connection point, like receive a message and receive a message. And you can tap into everything. Everything has an answer for you. Ask a question, whatever, everything, like you said, everything is consciousness. Like you can get answers from a tree, you can get answers from anywhere. But yes, it is that. And for me, it's always just, okay, I can tap into anything. And at the same time, it's like, I just go to, it's right. Just, I've got so much to tap in there, like it just becomes, and then yes, you get to enjoy the other flavors, which I say that the other flavors of the divine, like the other beings and everything that come through too. So it's all so magical when you do that. But yeah, I love what you were saying, that that's exactly how people feel when they're disconnected from that. And I love that you teach that too. So beautiful.
Yeah. I mean, there's a lot of noise going on, right? So I'm sure everyone can attest to that the amount of commotion and noise, and, again, thousands of years ago, there wasn't that. There was stillness, there was music, there was animals, but there wasn't like all of this other noise going on. So there was more expansion and more breath. I mean, I think that's why a lot of people, when they go to a forest or they go to the mountains, they like suddenly start breathing again, because there's like a clearing that happens, and then suddenly in that clearing they're connecting again to source, they're connecting to their soul, they're connecting to the earth. Like there's this shift that happens. And I will always remember, it was 2 years ago. I was in Oahu for a work event, just that we had an event there, and I had a day, and I went to the beach, and I remember seeing there, and I was like, I'm not meant to be in a hotel room or a ballroom or in an office or in the concrete. Like I'm meant to be surrounded by nature. You know, this is where I can channel. This is where I feel the most alive. And I remember thinking, like, how am I ever going to get here? And that's the thing too. I want to remind people is that you're very powerful with your desires, and you will manifest it. You know, I have manifested things, and I, in very, very ironic ways. There's the opportunity to do that, and to be able to trust that you can surrender your desire and like give it to God, and be like, cool, like, okay, I have this desire, I feel it, I know it, I feel it in my womb for women, for men, I see it, you know, like, okay, I feel it, I see it, I can surrender it to God, and I can trust that all the crazy steps that don't make sense are going to show up for me. And like for me to suddenly have to go to this place to get this thing at this time, like you just, there's so many moments that are all being orchestrated for you, for your desires to come true. But magic and the divine and miracles do not happen in a linear time, in a linear way. That's this earth, that's logic, but that's not magic, that's not miracles. And so I really, really, really have learned that, you know, permission to play, to be curious, to be open to miracles and magic. Like open to miracles is my motto. Like that is what I say all the time, especially if there's things like, I have no idea how this is going to work out, I can't see it. And I'm like, I'm open for miracles. I'm open for miracles. And like, it's like, it's like opening myself up to receive from the divine, something that I cannot create on my own. I can't force it. I can't bring it. So, you know, it's like open for miracles, and then it flows in, and it's a practice, you know, it's a practice, but it's true and it's real, and I've embodied it and I live it every single day.
It's amazing what can happen when you're just that connected. And our whole thing is just being at that state of being. And yes, from that place, when you be love, like from that place, you know the next thing to do. Like I always teach, like if you're asking the how do I do this? How do I make this happen or whatever? You're not being the person that would receive that, because the person that receives that desire is in a state of being and just knows this is my next step. This is my next step, because you are being love, you are being God, you are being the divine, you're being that representation of that desire that you actually want right now. And it's so essential for us to follow our desires. I'm glad you brought that up, because it's so essential for us to follow our desires, because it's not even about the desire that we receive, but it's amazing. It's like, wow, that's the miracle. We get to experience all this, and that's what we do. But it's who we become in achieving those desires. It's who we become on the way. And all of a sudden we're here and we got it, and it's like, wow, this is amazing, whatever. But we've become something else. We've become more of ourselves. Like, and those desires are put within our heart, right? It's the way God loves us and puts those desires within our heart. So we follow those steps. And that leads us, and that's where the miracles are happening all the time. And are you aligned with those desires? Are you following those steps? You know, because love will lead you to the most magical places. We know that. Like it's just, and love led us to each other, which is so beautiful. And love led you here. So I thank you so much. Like I know everybody just felt all your passion, all the love inside of you, that just that energy, all your wisdom, the priestess of love that you are. Like I love how you described yourself because then it was like, yes, and that's exactly who she is. Like,
I fulfilled it. Yay.
Yes.
And just a quick note, you know, I didn't know that that was my path. So when I left my career and I walked away, I didn't know that was my path. I got a big channel download, and it happened on a day where I forgave my mother, and I acknowledged, and this is something I want to offer women actually as a mother healing, that my mother did the best that she could, and if she could have done it differently, she would have. And once I like allowed myself to acknowledge that, it like it's like something cracked open. I got this huge download 3 years ago, in February 2017, and it led me on a path. And what's amazing is I have those channels still, and a few days ago I started reading them again, and they apply to now. They apply to now, and I was like, oh my, like wow, like I had, you know, in that state when there's so much unknown and I'm doing so many crazy things, like I'm writing things down, I'm taking these leaps, the things that don't make sense to people, and I kept going and I kept going and taking the arrows of people's judgments, and I kept going, and you know, and dealing with my own fears and self-doubt and all of that. And I did come to a point where I was like, God, if this is my last day, I'm okay. Like I cannot live like this anymore. And it was in that surrender that the path really showed itself, and then I took it. And so to have gone down a darker path, and it led me into the light of the priestess and bring her back, you know, like you could not have told me that that's where I would end up being and what I'd end up becoming, and that I'd unlock all this magic and all this love.
You were crying and going, no, it can't be me. And you just so beautifully, it just then blossomed, and you've just completely owned it. And that's who you be. Like it's so beautiful. Like you are that representation. Go and watch her 30 days. Honestly, you could just watch one video after the other. Don't do the 30, like you could actually, I watched a few at a time. You won't just watch one. You'll just keep watching them. You'll like watch a whole heap of them, because they really, each one is an activation and each one shifts you. Like I'm telling you, if you know about energy, frequency, all those things, like if you've listened and go back or listen to the replay, whatever, but go back and just sit in the vibration of who Jessica is, like, and her voice and how she sounds and everything. Like I know that frequency to be that full-blown love. So I love that you're here. Do you have anything else that you want to end on? Any message you want to leave everyone with?
Save the women. And how we save the women is we step into our feminine power. That's how we save the women. That's how we save humanity. That's how we save the men. You know, when we step into our femininity and our goddess, the men will rise to worship and honor and devote themselves again to that. And when we step into our femininity and our power and our fire, then we will learn we will remember the calling of how we can serve our children in a new way. And I stand for that. I stand for it. And I really believe that it's through intimacy. I think it is through intimacy that we will free ourselves and free others. And that intimacy isn't just sexual, but like within our own selves, and owning that. And yeah, I'm like, please, like women, if you want to like join me for like a super yummy, delicious, like soiree together where I share it and I show it and I embody it, and you feel that you receive the transmission, it activates it in you, it awakens you up again, and it starts getting you on your path to reclaiming that piece of you that we so many of us women, especially if you have any intuitive gifts, chances are in some lifetime you were on some realm a priestess or an oracle or a mystic of some kind, and we need you all to unveil yourselves. And like, I know it's felt scary to do that, and I'm here to stand for you. Like, you know, it's time for us to reveal ourselves.
Yeah,
the world needs to know that, like, oh, the witches and the priestesses and the mystics and the oracles, like, we're all back.
Yeah,
and guess what? we're all connected now. So.
Yeah, that's what's going to shift this. It's time for us to rise. We're so powerful. And so like, it's just like, I just feel when you're talking in that, I just feel like this energy from the earth, even Mama Earth, just going, just pouring like that energy through us as women. And we just get to shine and just be those, like, we are that power. Like God created us to actually give birth, like to actually, like, we are the ones that bring life through to this planet, you know, in so many ways. But we also, you know, we actually know every human came through a woman. Like they should be honored. Each woman should be at any point in their life, like just the birth of a woman should be like, oh my gosh, what an incredible being. We bring life to this planet. You know, anyone that's here has come through a woman. How, like God says, how are you not all like honored and praised and whatever? Like, because God always says everything works so differently on earth to the truth of what it actually is. We've got it all wrong. And now it's our time. And as women, it's our time to change this and shift this and actually like create the heaven on earth that we're here, you know, and be honored and be those priestesses and be that love and those powers, because we come from a place of love and we actually make everyone rise. Everybody rises with us. Like we're not here to compete or anything. It's just like, no, the more I have, the more you have, the more everybody has. And that's, you know, it's just, when we give, it's just, we receive, you know. So I love you so much, of course. But you are such a beautiful, I so love watching you just unfold and who you've become, and just so own the energy that you be. It's so, such a gift to our planet, such a gift you are. Yeah, so everybody go and join Jessica. It's, I cannot wait to see that. Oh my gosh, it's going to be amazing, amazing to be able to experience. Thank you so much for being on today.
Yes, thank you. Thank you for activating me. Thank you for giving me the message. And even though I wasn't ready, I mean, it was time and I wasn't quite ready. You know, it was time for me to get the message and then to like hold it and integrate and then become it. So that's, or step more into that. And to your last point about the women and everything, I would love to do another show with you because I have a lot of downloads that support that what you shared about the women and being creators and shamans and alchemists, and like, we're magic. We are magic. So like, I have a lot of downloads that I'd love to share with everyone here, because the more we can spread that out and, you know, really remind the magic that we are and what we can create. Yeah, I would love that.
Remembrance, isn't it? It's a remembrance. And I would love to do that, because that just, we hear it and it's just, our body just goes, yes, that's who I am. Yes, here I am, you know, like, and then we get to show it and embellish it, but it starts from within, and then outside you get to like, just be these beauties, and just, we're all beautiful. We're all like, when you're beaming with love, you are beautiful. Like, look at Jessica, she's just gorgeous, absolutely beautiful, right? And she has this radiance and this energy about her. So it's, I love that. I would love to do that. Yes.
Yay,
Okay.
thank you.
I love you so much. Thank you for being on. I just, such a gift to our planet. Thank you. Mwah. Love you.
Love you too.
Bye, everyone.